Okay, guys, this is the Thunderbird 1990 supercharged radiator exchange out. It was really quite a nightmare actually yesterday. Took a 1-day job, turned it into at least a 2-day job. So, problem is that they welded the supercharger coolant intake, which is supposed to have cold air so they don't cross the radiator over in front of it. Then you'll have hot air coming into the intake, which you don't want. But they welded it at the bottom and the top. There's a weld. I cut the weld here, but at the bottom was really the hard one. I mean, theoretically, you're supposed to take all of this apart, like take all of this out. Oh, I'm covering it up, but take this pipe out, bottom pipe out, disassemble all of this, disassemble all of this to work with it. But I'm like, okay, I just put all this back together a few months ago, and for, the Hydro Boost system was leaking. I don't want to take it all back apart again. So basically what you want to do is separate the radiator from this component, but it's welded in there at the bottom. So all yesterday I'm trying to cut the weld, which this is what I'm talking about with the angle grinder. This is the bottom. The top, no problem. Zip, it's done. But the bottom, you really got to work with it. Move it around. Get that angle grinder in there sideways like that to cut. See, it's actually still on there. The weld to the bottom. See that? They welded it on the part you can't get to, right? And welded it on the bottom. So I had to cut the whole, it's like an L-shaped piece of metal that's the L-shape to this down there. Okay. So the tools I use, this is a new aluminum radiator from Radiator Express. For these cars, they're like $500 with tax and everything. It's aluminum radiator. I don't know if you like copper better, but they don't make the regular Thunderbird without the supercharger is bigger for less money. It's like bigger for $157, but because the supercharged and it's smaller and I guess it's more rare, they want to charge you $500. So you just have to spend the money, okay? Because the car is overheating on the highway, even with 2 electric fans going, one in the front of the radiator, one in the back. It's still overheating on the highway, so I figure it's not getting enough circulation up in here. And yeah, you can have them boiled out, but I'm like, you done took it out. You're going to pay them to boil it out. You might as well just get a new one. Like, they could boil it out and it still not work right. So I just want to give you some tips on the angle grinder. This is a very dangerous tool, but it's how you cut through the metal. I always wear gloves now because a piece of this broke off one time, took a chunk out of my finger, went flying off, took a chunk out of my finger. Always have the glasses on. It's going to shoot metal burning sparks into your eyes, and also the sound is too loud, so I wear the headphones. But the main thing I wanted to tell you about this is don't get this near your face. Even though there were moments yesterday when I did get it near my face, it could really just put a big slice in your face like you'd have to join the mafia or something to make any money after that. Scarface. But you should always have 2 hands on this, Because one hand, even like I'm a amateur bodybuilder, but even one hand, when it hits something that it doesn't receive right, it bounces. Okay, and your one hand is not strong enough to catch that bounce, and here you got it right in your face. So this thing could just slice into your face. So it's always better to have two hands on it and hold it away from your face, like you're bench pressing, holding your arms out. I mean, they make the cover for it, but then you can't fit it into the tight spots. So you have to like get new blades that are long enough. Sometimes the diameter gets too small. You got to put a new blade on it. But basically, you have to get this underneath the radiator, like in different angles, like this and this. And so that way, yeah, you could have took it all apart, but if you need to change the radiator out again in 5 years, if you plan on keeping, classic hot rods, you can change it out without having to do all of that all over again. So that's the reason why I did it. Or even if it leaks and you need to repair it, pop it out, put a new one in. So, it kind of messed with the structure of the bottom frame. It's kind of ate up down here from the angle grinder getting in there, but I don't think that's going to bother anything. So then what we have to do is trade out some of these parts, some of these clips or whatever. It's a good matchup, it looks like so far. Trade out some little components, and then hopefully it shouldn't overheat on the highway. But that's my Thunderbird supercharged engine radiator trade out tips for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button. Okay, one of the most aggravating thing I've ever done in my life is popping a hole in my brand new $500 radiator, which I'm pretty sure they're not going to warranty that. But basically, it all started with this stupid ass clip. I tried to transfer it. It holds up the fan to the new radiator, but I had to use so much pressure. I tried hammering it with a screwdriver to get it to go around this little slot. It just gets stuck in the middle. I cut my thumb really deep and it popped off. I had to go in and bandage myself up, bleeding all over the floor. But this actually was flat. I can't hold the light. Hold on. Okay. I can't hold the light and talk at the same time. Okay. This lays down flat. So you're very close to these fins while you're trying to hammer this little clip on, which they should have figured a better way than that. But anyway, so if you do your radiator like that, put something underneath it to protect the fin. So what happened was, I popped a hole in the aluminum. The water came out. When I filled it up to check it, the water came out. So then I had to watch a bunch of YouTube videos. I had to get out my propane torch. I had to go to Harbor Freight and get some very low temperature aluminum welding rods. The one near my house didn't have any I had to drive, 10 miles away. So then lay it down flat. I had to do it about 5 times. You try to well, the guys online will show you, if you type in repair aluminum radiator, there's guys that'll show you how to do it, but when you do it, it doesn't stick the first time. Come back, do it again, melt it, melt it, move it around, let it cool, check it. Still drips, not as much, but still drips. Go back, melt the aluminum rod on there again. Let it cool for about 10 minutes. Fill it with water. Check. It's full of water right now, so you can see there's nothing dripping out. So we go to the other. The other side is where it was actually dripping, and we see not even one drip anymore. I had to do it about 5 times. So you got to be patient. You lay it on the table. You know, it's a project. But I knew they weren't going to give me a new radiator for $500. But anyway, it doesn't leak. I don't really care what it looks like because, you know, it's going to be covered up by the engine and everything. Who cares? So that was aggravating. But I just wanted to let you know that this clip was hard to get on. There was another kind of hard to get on clip. Well, this rubber thing was kind of hard to get on, but it was okay. So basically, you really have to be careful. This clip here was actually another hard one to get on. You see how it's all bent up now? Like the new aluminum is all bent up. That was a hard one to get on. Luckily, I didn't. Maybe I did pop a hole. No, I don't see. Hopefully, I didn't pop a hole in that one. I mean, it's wet, but that's where I filled it up with water, so hopefully I didn't pop a hole in that one. I mean, at least not even, well, at least the fins aren't messed up. But anyway, I would put some kind of protection underneath it between the fins and what you're working on. And just to let you know, man, you got to be careful. And took a lot of extra hard work, but hopefully it'll hold the pressure. You know, usually, I don't know how often they show you this online, but one way you can check your radiator for leaks is just to lay it flat like this. Okay. You fill it with water, and since both ends are sticking up, when the water is at the top, you can look at the fins, see if there's a wet spot. Okay, so you got water full, look for a wet spot. The wet spot tells you where it's leaking before you put it back in the car. So hopefully that new aluminum weld is going to hold. Thank you.